time to strap in and get ready.
The leaders in AFL SuperCoach are incoming, helping you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight AFL Show with your hosts, Big Horse and Skitty.
Good evening and welcome to the Insight AFL Show. I'm your host, The Horse, and with me this evening for a bit of halftime entertainment, if you will. Deadly, you would never have been sort of described as being halftime entertainment before, would you?
I did shoot a half court once at my local basketball stadium.
And got it in?
When I was like 11. No, I definitely missed it, but I was like 11. But if you call that halftime entertainment, then there you go.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's just skip over that then. And Hurls is back with us as well. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I wouldn't mind playing a bit of halftime entertainment against those 8-year-olds and just push them all around a little bit and kick a few snags.
That's where Deadly's Keeper League team's coming from. But anyway, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's round 12. It's the first round of the bye. So we're going to get stuck into your bubble boys, who went well, who didn't, injuries, all that sort of jazz, and a whole lot more. So if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, and click the bell. That way you know that we're going live whenever we do, which is 5 times a week at the moment. We're getting a fair bit of content out there. But also, if you listen to us on audio, give us that 5-star review. Helps us get into the algorithm. That is AFL SuperCoach, and people who love a bit of banter with their footy. So Hurls, Deadly, and I were chatting, and we thought, well, why don't we pump out a podcast? Monday night would be logical because then all the games are done. But then Sunday night, Eagles, Cats, we all thought the game would be done by now, but it's actually a little bit interesting, isn't it, with only 11 points of margin for Geelong?
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, Geelong is still pretty, like, they look pretty comfortable, even though the score is pretty close. They just can't kick accurately, and they'll probably fix up in the second half and kick away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hurls, while the game's on, we'll address it now before we get into the Eagles-Cats game. I think marriage is dead.
Yeah, he's dead. He's what's he on? Half time, 34. So considering he's on a wing, that's not bad. Hopefully he can double that and save some cash, but he's dead. Like, you can't afford now to hold him and get 70s a week, and you got to take his cash now. And we thought it was a chance this week. We took a punt that he'd go back to being Seagull, but he's nowhere near the kick-ins, so it's done.
No.
It's done his job.
When you see Tyrell Dewar running back for a kick-out, you know your role's done. So, yeah, unfortunately, it's not great. But if you look at it from the other point of view, in that he's made us over 200K, some of us a little bit more, then you'd be happy with that. And you can upgrade into a proper primo in your forward line, whether it be a Nick Martin if you want to get Pottish, or whether if you don't have Petraka yet, or he's a DPP, so you could go midfield and spend the extra 150K up from him and grab a Bontempelli. So there's plenty to go through tonight, which we will do shortly, but all the games are going to be brought to you by The Standard Squeeze, who are helping you drink responsibly and conveniently. You can go to the website, thestandardsqueeze.com, and use the promo code IFS2025 to get yourself 15% off everything in store. So Thursday night, lads, for those that don't know, they've probably been living under a rock, but we're all Essendon lads, and Essendon actually put up a real fight, didn't they, Deadly, against Brisbane? I thought they'd be well and truly pumped, but hit the front in the last quarter, and while we eventually got overrun, there's some really good signs there.
Yeah, Jai Caldwell is hot. That's all I got to say for this one. Look, there was definitely signs, but you could probably just tell from the whole way through that game that Brisbane probably still deserved to win it. But there was definitely good signs as an Essendon fan. But yeah, the big one for Brisbane, as you can see on the screen, Hugh McCluggage with a 159, 41 touches. Yeah, career high for him. And he sort of had us on a string.
Yeah. McCluggage, awesome. Will Ashcroft, awesome. Fletcher, Hurls, do you see this as the new role moving forward for him? Or do you think when Kitty Coleman comes back in that he moves back to wing, and Kitty moves back to halfback? Because in this game, Ashcroft looked pretty good down there.
Yeah, Fletcher.
Fletcher.
Yeah, he's played predominantly down there most of the year, except for the odd game where he moved up to a wing. Again, though, I don't know if you can trust that he'll stay there. He's not the kind of guy you want to buy into at this stage of the season anyway. You want to be looking for those guys now that are, there's no risks of change of role or anything like that. You got to buy keepers from here.
Yeah, I think you're right. So we're talking Fletcher. Yeah, it could get you 111 this week, but then could punch out a 70 next week. And if you're bringing in boys to your Supercoach side now, especially during the buys and for the back end of the year, you're not looking for stepping stones anymore. It's either your real cash generators or your primos. So please do not get caught out doing that. We see Lockie Neal with an 89, 26 touches. He was okay without being too flashy. Dunkley was pretty quiet, though, 72.
Yeah, he had a real shocking first half. I think he went into halftime on about 8 touches, so which is very unlike him. But yeah, he picked it up towards the back end of the game. But yeah, look, he's not one I'm too interested in buying now that I don't own. But people that have him, it's just the odd down game, I suppose. You're not too worried.
No, he will bounce back. Zorko as well, 66. 22 touches, though. Usually 22 touches with 21 kicks for Zorko. Hurls would be 120-odd Supercoach points. But what's his name? Guelphy did a really good job on him.
Guelphy. Yeah, Guelphy followed him around a bit. I think he got a few frees against as well, which never helps. A few clangers and stuff. So it was one of those games. I think Thursday night was a tough watch for most people, because if you don't have Zorko and Neal, you seem to have Dunkley, and if then some people with Zeret as well. If you're like me and got a combination of all three, it really sucks, and it started the weekend off really poorly with a VC as well down the tube. But it is what it is with these guys. You got to hold them now. We can't be moving off these primos that we've got. It's now upgrade your last 3, 4, 5 spots. That's the whole purpose of the next 3 weeks, and you can't worry about your primos.
Spot on. So Strommy in the chat, Strong Creek, link will be in the chat below if you want to get around and get some concreting done in the Central Vic area. The Dunks over Martin pick is killing me over the past 2 weeks. Who would have ever thought that Nick Martin would have gone boom boom with the ever-changing roles that Essendon have, and Dunkley being the so-called, not the so-called pig, but he's the one that doesn't get tagged at Brisbane. So he's the one that just goes about business, gets his touches, gets his tackles. Other teams don't tag him. But yet, Martin, we see here 29 touches, 128 Supercoach points. He was bloody awesome.
Yeah, he was really good. And I think he probably, in my personal opinion, I think his home is in that midfield rotation now. But yeah, this is sort of a bit of an outlier, because I dropped this stat on the Panic Room on Thursday that Martin averages 125 against bottom 10 teams. Against top 8 teams, he averages 70. Well, he improved on that 70 this week, so it's a bit of an outlier. But yeah, if you think it can continue, and Essendon have a real tough draw towards the back end of the year, if you think it can continue, then I don't hate the buy, especially from Marriage. But I don't think I'm going to go there personally, just with that track record for this year. I need to see more time.
The roll Hurls.
I was going to say the CBAs was the thing that was interesting. And, rumour has it that we will bring Parrish in for Carlton this week. So it'd be interesting to see what we do with that mix. Like this week, he doubled his CBAs from the week before. It was 32% the week before, 68% this week. If you knew Martin was going to stay that 60% mid, he's F1. No question in my mind. Yeah. But I just want to see what it looks like with Parrish coming back and what they do. Does also went and played full forward because his ankle was buggered. So you just got to see what's going to happen over the next few weeks. I think if you're like me and you're a non-owner, Nick Martin might be the one to just think about as that last primo buy in round 17 when Essendon have had their buy, and you can get a bit more data over the next 4 weeks and see if you still want to go there. I don't think I'd jump in now and pay full tote odds, really. and then maybe the role shifts a little bit again, and you get stuck. So I'll probably just hold for a minute. If you've got him now, well done. You've got some cracking scores over the last few weeks.
Yeah, and you've hit the nail on the head. If you bring him in now, you're bringing him in for the scores that he's going to get, not for the scores that he's already gotten. So you've got to be careful not to chase. Someone that we didn't bring up on Brisbane, Deadly, that is probably a sell now, and that's Levi Ashcroft.
Yeah, subbed out annoyingly. He was sort of the guy I was sort of hoping would be 23rd, 24th guy I could maybe loop in and hold. But now I'm probably just going to have to use his cash. I still don't have enough of it. Another guy in Brisbane I want to bring up, and his name's been floating about a little bit. Kyle Lohmann dropped to 76. I want your guys' thoughts. Over the next 3 weeks, if Kyle Lohmann goes 70, he makes 110K.
Right.
Is there a world he goes 70 the next 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think so. But why would you pick him up for 70s when you can go, say, a Luke Pedlar who's 80K less and could score 65s as well? Or Angus Clark, who's 110K cheaper? And then you've got Aiden Johnson the week after, who I think is going to keep playing. He didn't look out of place at all.
He gets suspended.
Not Aiden Johnson, sorry. What's his name? Johnson from Essendon.
Zach.
Zach Johnson.
Subbed out
yeah.
there, so.
Aiden Johnson's the bloke that took out Wang today.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I
I think he could just as easily get a 17 as a 70. That's the problem with Lohmann. Like, he's just that kind of player, right?
I don't know. It's just I'm just throwing shit at the wall, seeing what.
Throwing shit at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah, but 110K. Yeah, if he goes 70s, I mean 70s is not out of the question. He averaged 70 last year pretty comfortably. So,
well,
I think there's one more week. There's one more week where you probably could go a cash gen guy, right? Like, how many trades have most people got? Let's say they got 13, 14, 15 at best. I reckon you've got maybe one more cash generating bloke to buy. The rest that you want to buy are basement price rookies or primos, right? So I think if you think he's the one that could make you that 100 in 3 weeks, well, I'm not going there because I went triple downgrade this week for that reason. I wanted those guys, and I went Sheldrick, I went Gray, and I went Keeler. I'm not going to go to Lohmann now because I just don't need those blokes anymore that are going. I probably want my rookies now to be just real break glass in case of emergency, sit on the pine, do nothing, but be there for a score if I desperately need them, and cost 119 down to 99. So for me, it's not a play. But if you've still got 15 trades maybe, and you do want to make that one more cash upgrade, then someone like him or the Adelaide guy Pedlar or whatever, these are all some options then perhaps.
So for Lohmann, he's gone 9, 13, 34, 41, 21, 50 before this 70-odd game. So this is the first time that he's hit the 70s this year.
This was the 100% the first game he's actually looked healthy. So take that where you will.
Let's go more into this. Some blokes. Caldwell, 123 SuperCoach points for Caldwell. 83, was it, in one quarter? 85 in one quarter, Hurls?
Yeah, 83.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Ridiculous
third quarter.
Absolutely incredible third quarter, scoring 83 points. But you look at that 123, that means he had 40 SuperCoach points in the other 3 quarters. So you can make of this what you will, whether he was just phenomenal and for 420 and he's pumping out 123s, you have to have him. Or do you look at it from the other point of view and go, well, if he didn't have that 80-point quarter and he had a 25, he would have ended up on 65, 70?
I think it really depends on what you're looking for to finalise your team. Like, for me, I'm most likely bringing Caldwell in this week, even though I wasn't thinking that way, because I was thinking Stewart was going to be my bargain guy. Because I need about, for me, I need one $420,000 to $40,000 guy to be able to afford Bont, Butters, and Wang, who are the other 3 I want to get in the next 3 weeks. And so I made the call when there was some rumours earlier this weekend that Stewart was still a 50-50. Like, I just made the call in my own head that's it. I'm ruling a line through Stewart. If he's in question before I even buy him, I don't want a bar of it. So he's now the one that I've ruled out. And so for me, Caldwell's the one I'm going to go to. Again, I'm not expecting 120s. I'm expecting him to average out somewhere around the 95 to 105 mark. And I think that's going to be okay because I need someone of value there. But you just got to make the call. What do you want from a bloke you're bringing in at that price? I think he's going to be about 440 this week. For me, I'm comfortable if he's going to get 65 to 75% CBAs. He's never going to play anywhere else in the Essendon midfield.
No, he's not.
So I'm comfortable to buy him at that price. If he was 500, I wouldn't touch him.
No. We look at Merritt here, 93. You own him, Hurls, and if you didn't own him, would you be looking to buy him? Or given that he's gone half forward, half back, he's all over the place at the moment. It's sort of messing around a bit with his scoring.
Yeah, I said this to some people who were thinking about buying Merritt last week. If I didn't own him, I wouldn't touch him at all. And if I could move him on, I would as well. But I just can't because of the number of trades I've got left. But Merritt playing half back sounds good. And it was okay against Richmond because he just waltzed out and hit targets, etc. But it's not the position that he gets tackles in. It's not the position that he's going to get, 1-2s in the chain and score involvements and all of that kind of stuff. So I'd much prefer as an owner if they rested him in a half forward, if they're going to take him out of the centre bounce.
Yep, for sure. Not really too much else going on Supercoach-wise for Essendon. The future does look very bright, though, when you look at Caddy, Roberts, Goldstein, Kako, Johnson, Durham. Durham was hurt, so he'll be a watch this week. Clark, Day Wicks, for those that brought him in, they'll be disappointed, but the DPP, they might be able to use him mid and forward. Perkins scored shithouse, but still had 15 touches. Very, very undermanned, but they did a good job in, making a game of this anyway.
Archie Perkins annoyed me, but that's a combo for another day.
Yep. And Essendon legend Laverty doing all right too with 90 odd. Let's go to Collingwood versus Hawthorn. And I was nearly thinking that after my little preseason rant on Hawthorn, we had this in our little chat that I may have to come on here and apologise to a few people because I came out and said that Hawthorn may not make the 8 this year because they lack a bit forward of centre and that Mabir Chol always struggles after his initial year at any one club. He did it at Richmond. He did it at Gold Coast, and now it appears as though he's doing it at Hawthorn. And with a forward line with Chol and Gunston, that doesn't really scare too many clubs, and Collingwood really exposed them, Hurls.
They did. I mean, Collingwood have exposed a lot of teams this year, so I don't think they're Robinson Crusoe there. But I think, and look, we're only on the outside looking in at Hawthorn and what's going on, and this might be a simplistic take, but it just looks to me like the addition of Battle and Barras has made them really traditional down back, where their strength last year was kamikaze. They would get it in that half back line. They would spread. They would run through the middle of the field, and they had options everywhere. And this year, it just doesn't look to be the case. Whether that's work rate, whether it's personnel, whether it's a combination of that, plus teams have worked them out and looked at how they move the ball and tried to cut off the switch. I don't know, but it's look. If you're a Hawthorn fan, I guess you say they're 7-4 while they've been going shit house, so at least they've got time to rectify it. But it's not looking great for them.
No, side bottom was fucking unreal. 146 Supercoach points. Little Billy Elliott 137. Nick Dacos with a 116. Just getting his break even. The break even was 115, so his price will start to increase now. Darcy Cameron with a 110. Dan Houston, I want to ask you about Deadly. It almost looked like there was a bit of a role change between him and Josh Dacos in this one.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right with that. I'm not going near either of them. I don't want to touch anyone on Collingwood unless their name's Nick Dacos. It's simple as that. I'm going to stick by that. We're at this point in the season. I don't see a real point in taking a risk at Dan Houston when he's probably is he still similar price or the same price as Wang?
I'll tell you in a sec, mate.
I don't know. I don't.
400 is 428k.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty cheap.
That is cheap,
but still, I don't love it. I think I'd still rather take Stewart over him.
Okay, that's a big call.
think though
love
these
him at Collingwood. I don't love him at Collingwood. It's not.
I'm with you. I'm not buying him, but I think these are the kind of picks that people should be looking at, right? Like, because I think we all need one or two of these 430, 440k guys so that we can finish our teams, because cash gen's been shit. So I don't mind people looking at these type of picks. I don't think I'm going there, but I don't think it's a silly idea either.
Yep. It could be, you got your Caldwells, your Houstons, Stewarts, these sorts of players that could be completing people's teams at this time of year. So while it doesn't sound sexy, it could be the difference between a really good finish and just a good finish, Deadly.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. I'm just looking at some kick-in numbers. So up to this point in the year last year, Dan Houston had about 50 kick-ins for Port. He's got 17 for the year at Collingwood.
Yeah, okay.
And that's where the bulk of his points come from, with that big boot straight up at the back there.
Yep. Ned Long, for those that held on to him, he was on 23 SuperCoach points at halftime, so he scored 70 in the second half, saving his bacon, scoring 93. Lipinski subbed out on 92. Did we know whether Lloyd got any weeks for that, Hurls?
No, I got
zero. Yep, 0.
You weren't happy about that, were you?
No, not happy at all. So we were having a long argument in the chat on what night was his Friday night, and I said he'll get 3 weeks from the MRO because he's given 3 weeks for every concussion related incident like this. Now, then they can go like Pearce did the week before. They can go to the tribunal and argue their case, etc. So I thought this was really inconsistent. I'm happy with the outcome because I don't think any of these should have been suspended. I think the North Melbourne bloke who got the 3 weeks for tackling was unlucky. I think Pearce was unlucky last week. I think Meek would have been unlucky this week. But this is the only one the MRO hasn't cited. And I thought that was really inconsistent. That was all.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Ginnivan with perhaps his best game he's ever played, 3 goals, 31 touches, 107 SuperCoach points, but he's just as likely to come out next week and get you 10 touches and score fuck all. Lloyd Meek with a 95. Does he not interest you guys at all? Like, I know he's a ruckman, so if you put him into your flex, it's really going to hamstring you, but he's going to be 440k this week.
I could see merit in it. I hate the flexibility of having 3 rucks. I already have Gordon and Cherry. I think a good chunk of people do. And I know Hurls has come on here and said it. I've come on here and said it, that if you have one of the guys in the tier below, your Darcy Camerons, your Tim Englishes, these sorts of guys, there's no point really wasting a trade to flip it. I don't see a point in it because they're all just going to score similar at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think it's only a flex play if you want to put the third ruck in flex. That's where it's a play. But I wouldn't be wasting a trade from one of my ruckmen to go sideways.
Oh no!
And I'm personally not overly interested in bringing in any of those other. If I was going to go, here's something that's completely random. If I was going to go a third ruck this week, I would go TDK because they have Essendon West Coast in the next 2 weeks and go for the bulk points now or something if you were going to go something crazy like that. But I'm not doing any of it, but that's probably what I would do if I was going to do it.
No. We looked through the list there. Warple with a 90, and for Jasper, I know you're watching in, Massimo D'Ambrosio got 80. He's not driving to Nunda's house for pasta and a vino because he needs to crack the ton, mate. Newcomb. Let's talk about Newcomb because we were talking, it wasn't just us, the SuperCoach community were talking about him only a month ago, about him being an absolute primo in SuperCoach. He was scoring 130s, 140s, really punching them out. He's now going to be under 500k this week, Deadly. Is he a fake primo? Because he went from rounds 5 to 8. He went 104, 134, 100, 123. Against Gold Coast, he went 121 2 weeks ago. But sandwiched in there, he has a 57 and a 79. So what are we doing?
So I think this sort of comes back all the way to back when Will Day got injured, round round 5, around that time. Everyone thought, oh, Newcomb's going to be the next best thing since sliced bread because he was good since when Will Day was out. You go back and look at it, he was about the exact same. Mr. Inconsistent, whether Will Day's in or he's out. He's just always sort of been inconsistent. I didn't mind the buy at the time because he had he had a fantastic run for midfielders at the time. Now that run sort of died off a bit, there's just not much going on for him. And he's starting to struggle a bit now.
Yeah, he is, and we're not really considering him, are we?
Nah, I'm not.
No. How about James Sicily? That's a fall from grace, Hurls.
Not just SuperCoach. Like, forget that he only got 37 SuperCoach points. He's just lost. Whether that's again as a result of Battle and Barras coming in, and now Sicily's the swing man, and he hasn't got settled in any position or whatever. But he looks lost out there, and he's a shadow of himself. So it's
And it couldn't happen to a better bloke. But let's hope Hawthorn do bounce back.
He'd be in the top handful, wouldn't he? That you would hope.
Oh, mate, he's at the top. Let's go to the next game, Deadly, and that is between. Geez, wasn't this a cracker game? Gold Coast and Fremantle. I sat at home and watched this by myself. The lovely and the two kids went out to a barbecue, and I had a couple of hours to myself, so I indulged myself in some footy, and it was raining sideways at different times throughout this game. And normally wet weather footy, it gets scrappy and it's a tough watch, but fuck me, these two teams put on perhaps the best wet weather game I'd seen in maybe a couple of years. Like, it was unreal. The skill level was actually quite good. And Deadly, Flanders' goal, that was just fucking unreal.
Yeah, it was really good, but we'll save that for the Adelaide game. But yes, his goal was fantastic. I think Hurls knows what I'm on about.
I do.
Yeah, no, but his goal was really, really good. There's been some outrageous stuff that people are starting to do nowadays. Even the dribbles from the pocket. I don't know how they do it so well, and there's rarely been any that have messed up this year. And speaking of things that are good, Horse, Noah Anderson. I wish I had him.
Really good at home, isn't he? 146 in this one. Matt Rao. 121, 27 touches, 13 of the best tackles. Wet weather footy suited him. Rioli, 115. Mac Daddy Andrew, 100 as well. Noble dropped under 100, but 95, you'd still be happy with that. Flanders still hasn't cracked a ton this year, Hurls.
Nah, and he's still got that same role. Like, he kicked 3, one of them being a cracker, as you said, and he got his 90, but you can't go there. He's not playing a SuperCoach conducive role. No, so he's not relevant except for watching him play.
I will note, he was on about, it wouldn't have been much anyway, about 20 before the...
Yeah, stuff all.
Yeah, he was on bugger all, even before he started kicking them 3 goals. And he just came in and became the fourth mid every single time. And that sort of just reopened. He looked like the Flanders of old in that last quarter from it. And so just keep an eye on it. I doubt he won't get CBAs or nothing. They'll still kill him off. But there is potential there. Hopefully for a next year, we can start with the Flanders at 350 or something.
Wouldn't that be nice? Clark, 143. He was just unreal for Freo. Brayshaw, 123. Here's someone I want to talk about, Hurls. Lukey Jackson. So we originally thought that whenever he plays with Darcy, it's just going to kill him because he's going to play forward. But how good is this role? So he started as ruck, and then when Darcy came onto the field, he played as a midfielder.
He did.
And he scored 122 in the wet.
We were commenting during the game. I've never seen this role before. It's ruck, and then when he needs a spell, he goes ruck rover. It's ridiculous. Like, that's not going to probably hold every week. But Sean Darcy, 29% CBAs, and Luke Jackson, 92% CBAs with him in the team. Like, I thought, that would have to reduce, but no, it didn't. He was pretty much in there for every centre bounce, playing old-fashioned utility role, like run around, chase the ball, love the wet. Now, was this because of the matchup? Maybe they thought because Gold Coast are one of the best clearance teams in the comp. So maybe they thought that if they didn't have that bigger body in there, that they would have been in a bit of trouble. So maybe that was tactical more than anything. But either way, he's ruck when he's not doing that. So it's bloody tempting.
Deadly, I want you to keep me honest here, mate. But if this role sticks for Dogger, from this point on, he will be F1 for the rest of the year.
No debate. Yes. I mean, Bailey Smith is a jet, but mate, that's SuperCoach gold. You're talking about ruck and midfield.
Yep.
Two best spots, and he's just there.
21 hitouts, 27 touches, 7 tackles in the pissing rain for someone that's 6'8", 6'9", and still 122 SuperCoach points. Like that's fucking elite.
Luke Jackson is what Geelong fans think Mark Blitzarves is.
And it's what we think Jaden Laverty is. But let's move on. Yeah. Shea Bolton, 100 SuperCoach points with a really, really nice rundown tackle at the end of the game to get himself to the ton. Luke Ryan, 99, no thanks. Sarong, another okay score, 97, not wowing us this year. His disposal efficiency has been pretty ordinary, though. Erasmus is the one we missed, though, Hurls.
Yep, the vest. The vest has killed us.
Do you reckon we could still bring him in, Deadly?
190k, and I'm pretty sure I just had it up.
What was his break even?
It was pretty big still because the thing with the sub game is still in his role.
-3.
I had just had it up before. Hold up.
Yeah, -3. So he's going to go up about 40k.
You can't bring in someone at 190 that's going to get 38% CBAs, can you? Surely.
If he goes 80s over the next. How realistically do you reckon Erasmus goes 80s?
That's what I mean. How reliable is that?
Over the next 3 weeks, or 3 weeks he plays, it's 140k if he goes 80s.
Yeah, I mean, we would just look. It's a story of the thing, and maybe next year we have to really think about this because if they don't change the sub rule, because everyone was going in that Thursday. That was it. Thursday night he played. Yeah, the Thursday night game where he came back, and everyone in SuperCoach was like, "Yep, bringing in Erasmus," and they made him sub. So we switched from Erasmus to Boxall, and Boxall has been sub or impacted every week since anyway. So maybe we just have to get out of our head the 1 week mentality sometimes that we do put on these things because he's been great since then. If you picked him up, you're laughing.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if he can go there. I don't know if he can go there now though.
No.
Yeah.
And there's no one really else. Sean Darcy, 29 hitouts. So we had more hitouts than SuperCoach points, 27. Good to see Fife back in, 23 SuperCoach points, but we're not considering him. Let's move on to the next game, mate. And I missed a fair bit of this, but I do want to call out that I did watch the first quarter and Winnie Blues, Lockie Whitfield was playing half forward. And do you know what happened? Our man Winnie Blues was contacted by the coach who had a phone call with Ryan from Astute Newstead. Use the promo code INSIGHT for all your residential home loan needs. And Ryan's like, you put Winnie Blues back to half back. And then he went back and he scored 116 SuperCoach points. So just contact Ryan and say thank you.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled to hear that.
Yeah, he's a rough watch, Whitfield,
isn't he?
It was gross. It was he slugged his way to 116. He got the touches, but he didn't do it the traditional Lockie Whitfield way.
No. I'll tell you what, I've got to shout this out, lads, because Brody has been doing an amazing job with some numbers in our Patreon, and for those that are a part of it will agree that he's scraped a hell of a lot of data to bring together a database that shows you how many points or how many touches, disposal efficiency, time on ground that certain players need to score certain points. And for midfielders, he bases midfielders on what it would take to score 115 SuperCoach points. Brody, in his data dump that he had suggested that Green would have to get 31 touches to score 115 SuperCoach points each week. He's one touch off here, Hurls.
Yeah, it's about what he gets, right? He was really good in that last quarter too. They did everything to lose that game, and I think I don't think anyone at GWS would disagree with this. If Richmond kicked semi-accurately, the game was done at 3/4 time. They would have been 60 up, not 35 or whatever it was. And then Tom Green turned the game in the last quarter. His clearance work was exceptional, and they did what had to be done. But yeah, I think he's a good shout because you know what you're going to get with him. I think one thing that is frustrating me a lot when I'm watching SuperCoach at the moment, and I'm sure it's happening to everyone, is I've got so many of these blokes who are changing roles, or what I bought them for hasn't held, and like Whitfield, Sheasel, Zach Merritt. These are all blokes in my team. Marriage, we spoke about earlier. At least if you buy Tom Green, you know what you're getting. You're just going to get the same every week, and you don't have to worry, is the coach going to do something else with him?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I have him.
Yep. Lockie Ash, 110, 36 touches. So he had to power a ball down back as well. And let's go all respectfully to everyone else in the GWS team. Yep, you did a good job, but how emotional was it seeing Callum Ward with the knee injury? And there's a reason why we put him on the thumbnail this evening, ladies and gentlemen, because universally, he's just one of those blokes that can't be hated. Such a nice guy. He's well respected. One of the inaugural members of the GWS team, for those that remember, he was actually part of the Western Bulldogs team for a couple of years before he got picked up as a young bloke. And went across, applied his trade there, helped get them through to grand finals and what have you. And he's just a no fuss type of bloke. He is getting on a bit now, but to see him go down with that knee injury and then to see the effect that it had on his teammates as well and how respected he is amongst everyone, it's pretty hard to watch, wasn't it, Deadly?
Yeah, horrible to watch. He's a guy that, I got an AFL when I was, 15, 6 years ago or so. But you always hear the odd thing about, GWS are entering the competition, and me being from, Western Sydney for a good chunk of my life, that, there's a Western Sydney team. He's going to be, the captain. This bloke's yada, yada, yada. He's a legend of the club, whatever. It's just, I've basically grown up knowing the name Callum Ward. So basically to almost guarantee, I think it's almost locked in that it's the last game of his career. And, it's very
pretty sad, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's horrible. It's not the way that I would have wanted him to go out anyway.
No.
I think that's right. I think the images of Whitfield giving him a hug and a kiss on the massage table there was pretty.
Very
chilling, right?
PG rated kiss on the massage table.
It was, it was PG. But I think the thing
there's no Deshaun Watson about it.
The in a morbid kind of way, the thing that I think he's known as cement head, right? Because he's hard as a cat's head.
That's right.
And then to put your own sort of emotions aside, knowing that you've career's done, etc. And he was pretty emotional. And then to go and give the 3/4 time address to the team and they got up was probably fitting, right? Like you can't undersell it. That's probably why they just lifted in that last quarter.
100%, mate.
100%,
yeah. For the Richmond Footy Club, Nankervis came back. The rest must have done him the world of good, really. 142 SuperCoach points. The human meatball, Prestia, 132 SuperCoach points this week. And I'm not sure how much his hamstrings have left in him. Deadly?
I couldn't believe how good this Richmond midfield looked. For how old that they are and how... I guess they're experienced, but Christ, their bodies, I don't know how they dominated GWS so much, especially in that first half. They were all over them. The clearance was like 10-2 in the first quarter.
Yep. Banks has been a pretty good pickup too for them. 25 touches for 96 Supercoach points, and definitely looks a player of the future there at Richmond. Ralph Smith did all right too. 23 touches, 83. Taranto, 87 Supercoach points for his 23 touches. McAuliffe, for those that picked him up, is that 62% on field, Hurls?
Yeah.
Time on ground? That'd be a bit concerning.
Yeah. Look, and he was still part of their midfield rotation. So he had 60% CBAs, which every Richmond supporter I asked, because I was trying to toss up which of these Richmond guys are worth picking up, everyone said he's going to be their fourth midfielder, and that was exactly true. So they had Taranto at 88, they had Hopper 76, Prestia 76, McCall of 60. So he's the fourth cog because Thomas Dow is injured for 4 to 6. But it looks like he's a lowish time on ground kind of bloke, a bit like some of these others like Boxall and Sardis and these guys. Maybe they don't have the big enough body to do the 70-odd% yet. So if you've got him, he looks likely to stay in that kind of space for the next 3 or 4 weeks, and then you catch him out. But yeah, he's not going to, with Prestia getting 76%, he's probably not going to be the 90s guy. He might be a 70s guy.
Talk to me about Campbell Gray, Deadly. 13 touches, 5 marks, 70 Supercoach points. I didn't see the game. I'm happy because I bought him in, but how's it looking for him there?
I mean, he was just okay. Like, there wasn't too much of him, and then sort of the second half. I'm trying to remember who he was on.
You're unreal, Skids Fitz.
Just looking at the team, I actually can't remember. I think he might have been on.
I think he played a bit on Riccardi. Yeah, a bit on Riccardi, I think it was.
But I think now Trainer's probably the one to drop out of this side over here.
I think
drop out of the back line out of him. I think Trainer's done.
That game
trouble is though, because Bolter comes in, right? So that I think he might be in some trouble. Because where are you going to play him? Like I thought Sims had his best game. He was really good, up forward. So if you've got Sims and Fall up forward next to Lynch, and you've got Bolter comes in to play next to, what's the other big bloke down that end?
Miller.
Miller, and that. Like you can't play too many of them. So I think he might get dropped, but we knew this when we bought him, right? He's going to make, I think, 60 or 70K this week. So it's not a bad thing, and he's got the DPP swing, so that's a good thing. But yeah, whether he holds his spot, I'm not 100% sure.
He might be just someone that we need to be patient on, given that Bolter's still got a couple of games where he's got to stay at home and just cuddle up in bed and watch some movies because the Tigers can't get home by 10 o'clock. So we see Skids Fitz in the chat. Tigers, the 6-month rebuild finals next year. Unreal, mate. That's not going to happen. Trainer subbed out too, 28 Supercoach points. And if you haven't already cut your losses, you need to do it now because I reckon he's the first one out next week when Bolter comes back in. Let's go to the next game, mate, which is between, was it last night? Sydney versus Adelaide. And again, I didn't see too much of this game given that I had prior commitments, but let's put it bluntly. Are Sydney just cooked? Are they done?
Yes.
Yeah,
what happened?
They have been for a while.
That was just shit. Like, there's that shit. They were just horrible. There's no other way I can put it. No one played good. I mean, the only one who showed a bit of promise in my eyes was Sheldrick. And
their Ruckman was their best player by a long way.
Oh, well, yeah. It's Grundy, of course. But, yeah. But I tell you what, it was just gross. There was not much going on. Like, they couldn't get any. The biggest thing that I noticed was every single time they got the ball, because they started losing so badly so quickly. Every time they got the ball, they would just rush kicks, bomb kick it everywhere. They weren't looking to find anyone. They just booted up the field, just trying to create something out of nothing, which, it's never going to happen. And then Adelaide would just walk right back through them off an intercept mark.
Unreal.
Yeah. And their effort was there for 10 minutes in the second half.
Minutes max. Yeah.
That's about it. Then it got real hard again, and they started being undisciplined and complaining and whinging, and Chad Warner, my God, the amount of times he was whinging about free kicks not being paid. Like, he should have got the whistle and ran the boundary. He was doing more umpiring than playing footy. It was ridiculous.
I went back this morning and I counted it. Chad Warner dropped the ball 8 times. He complained for free kicks 6 times.
Yeah.
I went back and counted it because it happened every single time he got the ball. And something didn't go his way.
I know we've got a few Swannies people that jump in here and love the podcast, and I'm not having a crack at them or the footy club at all, but is John Longmire's coaching ability underestimated here with what he did with the club for so long? Because the player turnover hasn't really, it hasn't been exponential. Like, there's still a good core group of players here that he had when he was coaching.
I think it's a perfect storm, though. I think there's 3 legitimate reasons that this is happening. First one, yes, they've got injuries that has hurt them. 2 key players. So they've got their 2 forwards who aren't there, and we already were saying last year their forward line is a mess. So you take their 2 forwards out, that's been a problem, and they've had to move blokes backwards and forwards. That's a legitimate reason why they're not why they're losing like they're losing. I say all the time, them losing at the moment isn't an issue because I don't think they've got the cattle on the park to be able to win, but how they're losing is an issue because it's in their heads. And I think that, to me, and I know I've had arguments with Phil over this nearly every game, and he won't agree, and that's fine. He knows them better than I do, but there has to be some mental scarring from last year because they're just not. They're not switched on in games. They're in, and Cox called it last week that they're inconsistent in games. And I think that's not just inconsistent in effort; it's inconsistent mentally when they go, when they don't go, and that. And the third reason, which is legitimate as well, they haven't had to test his depth for a while, and the depth is showing now that it isn't really where it needs to be, and that can happen when you're up the pointy end of the ladder, right? So you got blokes came in like Bice is a perfect example. He played 3 good games, then he got exposed big time after he's not sort of getting the easy kick. So when you're having to rely on so many of these depth players, it hurts. So I think there's reasons. Is it because of Longmire? I don't know. I think there's just all of these things compounding it. And, I think I really enjoyed, if you're a Swans fan, I would highly encourage you to have a listen to, and you probably already have, Dean Cox's presser. I thought it was really, really good. Brutally he was raw, he was honest, but he was like, it starts with me. We're all going to look in the mirror, and I think that's all you can do. But this year's cooked for him. No, make no mistake about that.
So let me throw this to you. We'll get into the SuperCoach scores in a minute. But if you're a buyer of Sheldrick, are you now more confident than ever that this role may stick, given that they may not play finals? So now they're just going to keep blooding him through the midfield?
Has to.
He's going to stay there.
Yeah,
he's the least of their problems. He's the least of their problems. He cracks in. Yeah, he cracks in. He's got some rough edges. His disposal efficiency needs work. I don't think he'll deny that himself. But he cracks in. He has a go. They can't afford not to play him at the moment.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sydney were ordinary. Let's move on. All right, Deadly. I know you've been waiting for this.
Nah, hold on. We'll talk through some Sydney players first because there was some sort of there's some guys there that showed me a little bit. Like Roberts, I think he's still fine to hold to the bye. He did enough, and I was impressed by some of the things that Caleb Mitchell was doing. Whether he keeps his spot, I don't know, but he had a very comfortable role back there.
Okay.
So, the only thing I didn't like about him was I kept thinking it was Roberts getting the ball, and it was bloody in because he wears 35. Yeah. He wears 35 instead of 34, and he looks the same. And I kept thinking, who's this bloke? Bloody, it looks like Roberts, but it wasn't.
Yeah, right.
He did look okay, I thought.
If you still have Riley Bice, he's number 1 trade out by
gone.
Flemington Strait by gone.
Right behind him is Caden Cleary.
Yeah, but you get both of them gone instantly. Bice, mate, in the first quarter, he did nothing, obviously, as you can see. Second quarter, he started tagging Isaac Rankin, and Cox said, all right, I've seen enough, and subbed him out at halftime.
Okay. Talk to me about Adelaide then.
Mark Keane was great, but
Can we set it up first, Deadly? I know you want to talk about this. So talk us through the goal where he played a beautiful through ball, like Keys was onside. Talk us through that passage.
So I thought the Champions League final was on at 5 o'clock this morning, but no, I witnessed Josh Rochelle turn into prime Lionel Messi, and Ben Keys kicked, just his third goal of the game, and casually tunned up yet again. He might be the greatest player in AFL history. I'm not sure though, but I think everyone in Adelaide was just good in this one, to be honest.
I did love that goal though. Like Rochelle, to Nix's credit, he spoke about it on the coverage last night. They dropped him in that last round last year for being a bit of a flog and not following team rules.
They've fixed his character up a whole bunch.
And Jeezy's playing some good footy and he's rewarding them at the moment.
Yeah, he's a gun footy player. He always has been. Yeah, it was always the character issues, and now they're fixed up. He's definitely rewarding them. Mate, I can't tell you one player who was like bad for Adelaide in this one. They were just all good. There was no one.
I didn't hear what you said before. Keys, he wasn't any good.
Anyway,
he may have said he's the best of all time. I think I heard.
Oh shit! Here we go. Gets a personalised jumper given to him, and now he's just the GOAT.
I mean, am I wrong?
He was good. He was good. I'll give him that.
I was trying to find a bad spot in this team most of the game. I couldn't. It's sort of an outlier though, because just everyone was good. They were able to give Thilthorpe a rest for the last quarter because they were just up by $1 billion. It's hard to go off anyone in this one. Dawson copped the tag for about half a quarter and then just bossed it, and then just decided he wanted to do whatever he wanted.
Sid Draper's going to be 118K next week.
And he will continue being the sub.
Yeah.
That's unreal, isn't it?
Or get dropped. You can't do much about it. I think the good part about it for us is he'll stay in this sort of role all year, barring injuries. And so next year he might start off same price. And if he can break his way into that midfield, he can play.
Yeah.
Look at this, Deadly. When are you trading him in horse?
Why have you now?
Never.
Mate, when it gets to the stage like it did last year, where I know I'm not going to win, a final or anything like that, and I could trade in Campbell Chester and Ben Keys, that's going to be the best part of my year.
Are they in your keeper league? You may as well trade for them there.
Oh, I think I could pick Chester up. I think I've been able to pick Chester up for about
he's still sitting
15 weeks.
Yeah. Just a heap. Yeah, for Adelaide, a heap of people scored well. Dawson, 112 again. Worrell, 104, continues his up and down season. Thilthorpe subbed out on 98, kicking 2. Rochelle, 85. Peatling, 82. He's done a good job holding his spot.
He played a lot better than an 82 as well. It's just there was not enough points to go around.
Starting to a point where you move him on, though, Deadly?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he's stopped top 6 forward, and Crouch is due back soon, isn't he? And they're going to pick him.
Yeah. Rankin, 62 Supercoach points, 18 touches. We just overlook this. Yeah, just overlook this.
He wasn't bad. It's just he wasn't as good as the other 15 Adelaide players that were better than him.
Can I have one Lockie Bramble responsibly disclaimer warning? I needed Rankin for one more touch. He needed 19 because shit tab give you the one short and you still win for about $1,200. And when he ducked his head into that last contest and got paid holding the ball instead of just handballing the thing out to someone else, do you reckon my TV was in danger? My goodness! And then he went to the bench with 4 minutes to go, and I was going to smash something. But anyway,
let's go to the next game. Anyway, Deadly.
Got some
That's unreal.
Stories from over the weekend.
Melbourne versus St Kilda. So St Kilda take the chocolates here. I have received a text to suggest that Mateus Philippou, it was calf awareness.
Yeah,
and
good. Apparently he's good to go.
Likely good to go next week.
Yeah, apparently he's fine. But he's going to start dropping
calf
cash.
awareness. Where do they make these names up from?
To be fair, he missed the first 11 rounds of the season due to a lower leg issue, and then not even 30 seconds into his third game back, his lower leg starts playing up. It's fair enough.
Yeah, no, I think this is something we should be thinking about though with blokes like Coleman.
Yes.
He's now missed 2 with soreness. And I think if you're going to pick these guys up, I think the only way you can do it is if they're the extra, if they're the F7 or the D7. I don't think you can pick them up to be your D5 and D6 like we were maybe hoping.
No.
So, because I think there's just too much risk there.
Yeah.
No, spot on.
You're right.
May took a shit ton of intercept possessions, 133 SuperCoach points. Gorn, bit of a down game for Gorney, 110. Disco Turner, 102. Petrarca, 88 in a down game. Pickett, is this more like the Pickett we know, Hurls, or is this just a down game for Pickett and he's going to bounce back next week? Big Queen's birthday or King's birthday.
He got tagged, the tag, mate. Windhager.
Windhager ran with him.
Windhager went to Pickett.
Yeah.
Be better.
So yeah, and this is the risk though with Pickett, right? He's not going to be consistent. But then next week when Collingwood let him run free, maybe he'll kick 3 or 4, right? So it's just going to be like that with Pickett. If you're buying into him, that's going to be part of it. Like we all did with Chad Warner. Like these guys are not consistent. If you're happy with them though, you buy them. If not, just let them be.
Yep. Lindsay, is he done, Deadly?
I haven't actually looked.
No, his break even's only 43. I think it's going to be after this week. So I think he's still okay.
53 this week.
No, but after this week, it's going to drop. So he'll go. It's 53 this week, and he got a 59, and I think he got a 59.
No, it was 37 this week. It's 53 this week.
Oh, okay. Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought it was 43. I'm out by 10.
Nah.
But I think that's still something you could manage, right? I think
at least one more week. Yeah.
If you want to. Like it depends what you got to do. Like at this time of the year, it's when do you need to get rid of blokes and who's going to lose the most cash and what order do you do it all in. So if you need to get rid of him next week, it's fine. But if you need to hold him, he's not going to bleed much either.
No.
Like Trainer, Marriage, Bice, Cleary, that's at least 4 guys I'd trade over him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agree. And Hewitt at 3/4 times on a 52, so he's just got his break even. So he's another one that you could hold another week or 2.
Yeah.
As Pete, I've had calf awareness for 20 years. Not bad for a young bloke, Pete. I like that. Johnson, how many weeks is he going to get, Hurls?
Well, he passed the HIA, so yeah, 1 or 2. Maybe 1 and then upgraded for potential to cause injury or whatever they do.
It's the concussion's automatically 3, and then it's because he left the ground. They got to determine if it was moderate force or high force.
Yeah,
and that's the difference. He's guaranteed at least a week since he left the ground.
It probably punishes Melbourne more by him being out than him being in, to be honest with you.
But to be honest, though, it's a really interesting one. I know this isn't SuperCoach related because he's not a SuperCoach relevant bloke, but since they bought him and Fritsch back, Melbourne have gone inside 50 much better. Now, today it wasn't about their inside 50s. It was about their goal kicking. They got
smashed.
They just kicked themselves out of it. You're not winning games kicking whatever it was, 1 goal, 9 in a quarter or whatever they kicked in that third quarter or whatever. But I think because when Van Rooyen's there, they seem to just bomb it. But with Johnson and that, they maybe lower the eyes a bit. So I think it's helped them. Without him being any good, the structure looks better.
I've avidly enjoyed them having Jake Melksham back in this team.
Yeah, that too.
So there you go. Yeah, maybe it's just a structure thing, which is probably keeping Van Rooyen out. But you'd assume he probably comes back in for Johnson now. To be honest.
Tell you what, West Coast have just kicked a goal to get within.
And it's 1 goal the difference early in the last quarter.
And it was Elijah Hewitt too, of course.
Wilkie 150 for the Sainers, Steele 117, Windhager 126, Sinclair 113. Now I've got to say this right once, and then we'll go back to his name. Where is it? Wangamaneen Manera. That's it. Thanks, IJ.
He got 27 touches, and he missed nearly a whole quarter.
He missed a whole quarter.
69%
TOG.
69% time on field.
But fair income. What kind of strategy was it to just let him run by himself? Now I know they clamped Sinclair because Sinclair was off the chain in the first half, so they clearly wanted to limit him. And I think Sinclair's second half was pretty limited. But geez, you can't just let the other bloke run free. You can't tag one and let the other one go, and it cancelled it out anyway.
The way they counteracted Sinclair, just basically getting Sparrow assaulting him. They just put Brad Hill back there, and then Brad Hill and Wanganeen Miller just kept passing it to each other. They just kept doing that. Their game plan they've got using through their defenders is so good. I loved watching it.
Yep. Brad Hill did a good job down there as well. 23 kicks, 23 touches, 13 marks, 94 Supercoach points. Marshall with another 89. But how good did Keeler look early on?
Oh, we were messaging each other the scores and stuff. He looked like bloody Wayne Carey reincarnate for a quarter.
He had seven touches, 2 goals in the first quarter, and finished the game with 10 touches.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the fact that Stephen May was getting flooded by a bloke who's 6 games into his career, that says enough. But I will bring this one up. Cal Wilkie, he is so fucking good at AFL football.
Yeah. Just reliable, isn't he? He'd be one of those blokes who you'd love in your team.
He's just so good. He's lock him into that All Australian backline already.
494k he is. Let's check out his. We're giving him a shout out. So let's check out his scores. Since round 4, he's gone 114, 84, 126, 101, 112, 77, 114, 79. Not the worst.
He's so reliable. It's unreal. He's averaging 94 before the update of a 150 this week. You definitely can't go for Cal Wilkie, but
you can't.
It's fun to watch. And I'll tell you what, if you don't even draft, you're laughing.
What's going on with Boxall, lads? 49% time on ground. I have not seen that by anyone that hasn't been the sub.
And he's been fine when he's been on. I don't get it.
He got injured at the end, didn't he? He had a little ambulance on the app.
He copped a blood rule, just a blood rule. Cut his head open.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. He came back.
But low,
taped up.
Low time on ground. He looks okay, but I don't know. He'll make us some dollars. That's a good thing about today, but I don't know that he's got a safe spot. That's for sure.
It's definitely not safe, and I don't know why. It's a bit weird.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Philippou subbed out on 5, but calf awareness again. He should be right to go. Saints got the week off, and then they'll be back. So, is there anyone on the Saints, lads? So, Saints and Freo next week are on the bye. Most teams are going to have 18 pretty strong players in their team. Is there anyone from the Saints or Freo that you guys are looking at bringing in?
Wanganeen Miller.
Yeah, he will be my round 14 trade for sure.
Yep, you can lock that in for me too. I already got Brayshaw, Sarong, and Clark, so I don't want any other Freo players. And then I don't own Sinclair. I would like Sinclair, but I want Wang more now at this point.
Wanganeen Malera will be 507k as well.
I have Sinclair, and I would love to have both Clark and Wanganeen Miller for the run home, but just how I can orchestrate the ones I want, I don't know if I can get both. So Wanganeen Miller is just extreme value at 507. So he's going to be the one I go to in round 14.
Yeah,
for sure.
Guaranteed.
Do you want to go to the scores during this live game as we see the Eagles still only down by 6 points, 7 minutes into the last quarter?
We do have Brayshaw.
It's unreal. Liam Baker's already on 105. Tom Cole, 99. Where's Marich, 56. Yuck. Anyone else? Elijah Hewitt's on 78.
Elijah Hewitt, 78. That's beautiful. That's some more cash that we weren't sort of banking on because his break even was at 53, I think.
Yep.
So he'll make some cash, and it'll mean you can hold him now for a couple more weeks, and he'll make some more the week after.
Tyrell Jewett in the Ryan Marich role, only a 47.
That's unreal, isn't it? But then for Geelong, you got Bailey Smith, who's slowed right up. He's only had 32 touches, and I say only 32, but he had 23 like 10 minutes into the second quarter. He was on fire, 16 in the first quarter. But only 53% disposal efficiency. Maxi Holmes on 96 at the moment, 853 metres gained. But again, he's only going at 59% as well. Tommy Stewart's on 88, so that is his break even. So he's going to make a little bit of cash now, going at 93% by foot. Is there anyone else here, lads, that you're looking at? Or like even Jeremy Cameron, we thought that he may have a spike game here, but it's the
43. This is the problem.
The 12 forward syndrome, yeah.
Yeah, this is the problem with those blokes. You just can't trust them. As we see our mate, old Ollie Dempsey kick a goal to get the Cats up by a couple of goals.
In that Jeremy Cameron topic, you can chuck Shannon Neal, who was meant to be, one of the buys of the round.
Had a negative 33 break even. That's right.
He's like 45 at the minute.
Yeah, and that means, I mean, he's going to go up this week, but if you were buying Neal, you'll be disappointed because this was meant to be the game that he gets another 90 or so to cement, some really good cash gen. Now he'll go up this week, but how much more has he got left in him? Maybe not much.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Anyone else you want to go, or you guys want to talk about this one, or we'll just get into the questions?
Brambling wise, I'd like Jeremy Cameron.
I think the only other one to talk about isn't playing, right? He had a good waffle game yesterday. The young number one mid-season draft pick.
Yeah,
McCarthy.
25 touches, was it?
Yeah, he'll be in all of our teams. He'll be in all of our teams in a couple of weeks' time, probably.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Let's get into some questions.
It's question time. Let's answer your questions for the week ahead.
Now, before we do start the questions, our man Squiddy. So for those of you that know, Squiddy became a dad 2.5 months ago, and little Arch has spent a little bit of time in hospital. He was in the Northern and then was transferred through the Royal Children's Hospital. And after 2.5 months exactly, I am proud enough to be able to mention to the Insight community that Skiddy has been able to take little Arch home for the first time this weekend. So he's fucking over the moon. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. Message Skiddy. Get around him because that's fucking awesome news. And he was on the phone to me the other day, a little bit emotional, and I got a little bit emotional back, but fuck, it's just so good to hear for the man.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Awesome. That's made my night because no one wants to see sick kids, and no one wants to see sick kids with people that we know, and so hopefully it's onwards and upwards from here. Squid and Archer just goes nuts from here on in, mate.
100%. Yep. Benny G, Horse, are you trying to win 10% of my 50K? I have 5 Eagles in my team. Fucking be better, mate. Well, depends which ones you've got. If you've got Hewitt and Baker, you might be doing okay. What's Marich is on the bench on 55? Yeah, he's done this week.
Yeah. Geelong have just kicked away as well.
Yeah, okay.
Tyson Stengel kicked his second, and it looks done.
Marich roll is dead. 100% it is. Benny G, go the Bombers next year. We're winning it all. I'm just happy winning a final, mate. Yeah.
Just he's up there, Benny. He's up
like
there.
To win more than 5 games in a row.
Yeah. Deadly, good to see you growing bigger after your birthday.
Can't tell if that's a fat joke or not.
It's Jasper.
Definitely.
Wangamanine Monera. Do I need to buy the suitcase? I'll tell you what, the suitcase, he needs more love.
So here's the question that we'll throw back, right? Because I think it's a good question. But most of us have been planning now for 11 weeks to bring Bont and Butters in over the next couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. Would you recommend people maybe just have a bit more of an objective look at that, take the blinkers off and say, how about someone like the suitcase instead of just going to the historical guns?
I think it's a fantastic play.
There is definitely a world. Myself personally, I'm sticking to Fade Bond. I'm doing it. I'm not touching him.
Still in only 7% of teams too.
Not getting McCluggage though. I don't know who I'm going to be able to afford, but I'm not getting Bond. I'd like to. I just don't see a world where I can do it. And my cash gen is so bad.
What's he priced at, McCluggage?
580k?
584 with
584.
Still
he's
value,
gonna go back
right?
up,
Like
he's going to go back up to like 590 this week.
this is the hard part in our heads, and I think I was chatting on Twitter with Skodfather on this because he said like we're all still sleeping on this bloke, and I said to him, yeah, we are. The trouble is we look at Bont at 640 something, whatever.
Marriage just got subbed.
Week. And then, so 640 odd for Bont versus 584 McCluggage, and in our heads we go, oh, you have to buy Bont. There's no way. But on this year, why couldn't you go the suitcase? It's a hard one though.
Yep. Pete, Jackson viable flex.
Why not?
Why not?
And Pete, I think this is we were all pretty big before saying I don't think I love the 3 rucks because it stifles your flexibility in flex. But Jackson's the exception because he's a forward ruck, right? So you can still move him into your forward line. So I think he's a perfect flex if you want to go to somebody like that. He's expensive though.
Does Witt stay in this role, Deadly? He doesn't play Richmond every week.
He sort of kept rotating between the two. I think he might do, and I don't think it's any fault of his own. I think it's just Lockie Ash is doing all of his work by himself back there right now. He's looking incredible.
I'll tell you what it is. It's they bought Galore in, so they can't have another defender down there. So because Leakaleer's down there with all the other talls and Fonty's back there,
Surely,
he was the only.
For him.
I think you get rid of Leakaleer. Why do they need the third or fourth tall?
I don't know if that was matched up. But either way, it's gross.
I'm an owner, and I hate that Witt is moving because he's not anywhere near as good out of his defensive role. But I think he could stay there because they have done it for a reason.
In true Bo Allen form, he comes on the ground, gets a free kick against. He's sitting on -3.
Oh, beautiful.
Unreal.
Negative cash gen for Bo.
Jasper Calward, yeah, that's sad, mate. Yeah, best wishes to that man. Scorched Earth. It's Keezus or Sam Harper in BBL horse. Pick one.
Pick one, he says.
I'm picking Sam Harper.
Sam
No,
Harper.
no, wait, no, you're not. Don't lie to me.
I'd rather a loop.
Take Harry Nielsen over him.
Philippou, what a crap trade-in. Yeah, it's probably not looking that good at the moment. Pete, I've had calf awareness for 20 years. You're a funny man, mate. Rookie coach. Evening, lads. Think this week will be my worst of the season. Can't wait for the pain to stop. But it's nice owning Smith and Holmes. They're the two big ones, aren't they?
We're all with you, Rookie, and I don't own Holmes, so I don't even have that to fall back on. I think my projected 1748 with not long to go, and I'm going to get close to it because my live's near there, but that's just a shit week. But I guess you got to look at, and I say this all the time, you got to look at this as a 5-week exercise, not a 1-week exercise. And the one good thing about this week is the cash gen we got out of some blokes we bought in. So Sheldrick now is looking like a good cash generator. Gray's making some money that I wasn't budgeting for. Even Boxall might make 20 grand that I wasn't expecting. So it's not the end of the world, but it's not a great week.
Deadly, what's your projected?
Hold up. So after my captain decided he wanted to have 25 touches in the first half, he's now decided to basically not score more than Gawn. I'm projected 1861.
Yeah, good.
That's okay. I think that's
probably a pretty good score this week.
Anything 1800 plus is okay, I reckon.
I was ready for Bailey Smith, huge one, 25 touches at halftime, and he's only just scoring more than Max Holmes right now. He's going to struggle to score over, Brayshaw.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather get Bont next week but no Nas week after, or Richards next week and can get Nas the week after? I think with the way that SuperCoach has been this year, I'd go Richards and Nas.
I think I would.
I think that's a hard question to answer because that's too isolated for me. I can get both Bont and Nas, so why can't you. I think it depends what your 5-week plan looks like as to whether you can get different blokes. Because Richards is only 40K less than Bonds, isn't he?
Mhm.
So you can get both if you want. It just depends on what you're giving up at some point.
Kev, is it fading Bont and going Ed Richards a good play? We just spoke about that. Could be, if you, especially with limited cash this year.
Is 40K worth it? Would be my question. Well, I don't know. Maybe Ed Richards outscores Bont from here, so it could be a great play, no matter what they're priced at. But for me, if Richards was 550, I'd then probably jump on him and I'd fade Bont. But I'm not going to pay 600 for Richards when I can pay 640 for Bont.
Yeah.
Frankie, great move. I wish I stuck to my plan. My original plan was to get rid of Marriage.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, having said that, if I got rid of Marriage, I probably would have had to keep Bice, and he probably would have lost just as much cash. So both will probably drop out of my score. So I don't think it's mattered for my scoring, and I think it's probably much of a muchness which one I held.
Who's going to lose more cash, Marriage or Cleary?
I'm not sure. Now Cleary wouldn't be as much as Marriage, would it?
Marriage will probably lose 30K, won't he?
Let me see how much Cleary's going to lose.
35K even.
Marriage is going to go down to 439, so he's going to lose about 44K.
Shit.
And then Caden Cleary is... Sorry, I'm trying to find him. He's going to lose 20K. Okay, so I lost about 20K on the Marriage but I gained a score on field with Marriage somehow. So
much of a muchness. But if you got rid of him and it didn't hurt you by whoever you kept losing the same amount, then bloody brilliant move, because we all have to get rid of him now.
Yep. 1930 for Hurls girl. Nice one.
She's smashing me. I was almost going to say I'm going to stay and watch the footy and send her up to do the pod tonight. She's had a great week. And I'll hear about it all week too.
No doubt. And so will we. You're just the unlucky one that lives with her. Corey, I'll be lucky to get 1,700 here. That's all right, Corey, because you might be bloody flying in other rounds, mate. So, again, like Hurls said, don't be too worried about this round. We're looking at this as a collective 5-round crack. So,
yeah.
It
is an ideal though, Causa, but we're in the same boat. I'm getting 1,740 or something. There's going to be a lot of 1,600s through to 1,800s. So if you're 1,800 plus, I think you're going to be in good shape this week. But again, like I've said a million times, I don't know whether that's good or bad, because it depends what your buy structure looks like for the next few.
That's right.
I'll let you know from a bloke who's about to score 1,800 and doesn't have it over a 60 in his forward line. I'm worried.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be right. All right, let's go. Doris Hurls, where can the people at home find you, mate?
Twitter. You can message me on there if you want to say g'day. I'm reluctant to tell people to message me and ask me about SuperCoach because I'm going shit house, but we'll bounce. I'm confident. We've put all the planning in, Horse. I'm gonna back in the next 4 weeks. I've only got 2 keepers on a buy for the next 3 weeks in a row.
Oh,
so
beautiful. It's moving time.
I'm hoping that sets me up.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Deadly.
You can also find me on Twitter. That's on the screen. If you're an audio listener, it's SC Deadly. Come chat to me about how good Keezus is. Thanks.
You may as well close down your account. No one's going to message you.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do us for tonight. But before we go, we are all about breaking the stigma around mental health. So remember, it is okay not to be okay, and it's not weak to speak. If you're feeling it, if you're feeling a bit down, if you've got those thoughts running through your head that may not be so pleasant, go for a walk, read a book, call a friend, text someone, text us. We're happy to receive that text or phone call, because just getting those thoughts out of your mind onto a piece of paper, sharing them with a loved one, sharing them with someone at Beyond Blue, or any of those sorts of applications that are out there for you, are the best thing for your mental health. And again, like for those that don't know, I was a police member for 17 years, police sergeant, saw a lot of shit. And it does get tough from time to time, but I know from my own personal experience that you go and speak to someone, you get it off your chest, and it does make you feel better. So please, it is not weak to speak, and it's okay not to be okay. On the horse, over the far right is Hurls. The bloke in the middle loves Ben Keys. Yeah, we know. And we'll see you Tuesday night for Hurls' team, how we track and how we're going to get back into the top 1%. We'll catch you then.